All right, everybody back at home. We are here with Rumble Africa CEO, Nomfesane in Nyatela, and what an honor it is to have you firstly. We haven't actually met face to face yet, but we've been chatting now and then on social media, which I think is really cool that you engage with everybody and it brings a lifestyle to boxing. How are you doing, firstly?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having me on your online boxing talk. Is it SA Boxing Talk? Yes. Thanks for having me, and let me just promise you that one of these days you'll see me in person.
Yes, we have to do that, and I have to come to London. Every time I come to East London, there's no boxing, so I've got to make a plan. I've just visited on holiday before. I've never actually. I've been outside the Orient Theatre. I've never actually been inside the Orient Theatre. So we've got to make a plan about that sometime. But let's get to your tournament. You got a nice big tournament coming up on the 6th of December. A lot of big names on the bill. I'm sure a lot of people would want to know exactly from you, will there be a crowd? Will there not be a crowd? I know a lot of people would want to, with all the names that are on this card, a lot of people would want to attend, but is that the case?
Okay, fine. Uh, First of all, let me first confirm that, of course, we have a tournament that is coming up on the 6th of December. It will be on a Sunday, and then the venue, of course, is Orient, East London, Orient Theatre, where champions are made. And this thing of whether there will be crowd or not, I think is not really depending on us. But as Rumble Africa promotion, we have submitted a letter to BSA. In fact, initially we were writing a letter to the Minister of Sport, raising our argument that why is boxing treated differently from other activities? Because if you can have music festival, why then can't you have spectators when it comes to boxing? It really doesn't make sense, and it is only logically and fair that boxing should be allowed also to have supporters. For instance, if you were to have supporters, you were to have a tournament in Orient Theatre, then that means why don't you allow 250 as per the regulations, whereby they are saying if you are having to have an event inside the hall, therefore you must have 250. But apparently, it's not even up to the minister. It's up to the command center, and they are benchmarking on the international regulations. So it's not really about boxing or about soccer. It's just that all sports fans are not allowed. But we are hoping that by the 6th we would have persuaded whether the president or whoever that is sitting on the command center, that at least a quarter of the supporters would be allowed to come inside and watch the tournament. We are just hoping, because honestly, I can't imagine Orient without our supporters.
Well, from what I hear as well, is the Orient Theatre is probably the most well-supported venue in the whole of South Africa. And as I said earlier in the piece, I definitely want to experience that one day, and I want to do it at Rumble Africa Promotions for sure. But let's go to the next step. Off the top of your head, I don't know if you'll be able to do this, but would you be able to recite the entire fight card, who's fighting and their opponents?
Okay, fine. Um, you know what? What we wanted initially. In fact, what we wanted is that that as Rumble Africa, we have a group of boxers, more about 6 or 7 that are international rated. And remember, in fact, I think in the entire country, Rumble Africa was the only promotion that staged a tournament earlier this year. Now, we had our boxers that did not participate in the tournament. And then we thought, okay, fine, let us have another tournament to give chance to all of our boxers to at least take part, so that we don't have any boxer that will not be that will be having that will not be having a fight for a year. Now we thought, okay, fine, let us do a tournament whereby it will only be local fights. Hence, you are having Azinga fighting against Lunga Stimela. Azinga is fighting Lunga Stimela. Lunga Stimela is from Western Cape. It will be a non-title over 10 rounds. And you also have Luyanda Ndwanambe. He will be fighting against Jackson Chauke for WBC International and also for SA titles, both titles. Have Ronald Malindi. He will be going against Luzuko Siyo, SA title again. Then you have Toto Helebe. He'll be fighting Lerato Dlamini. And then you have Moshe, the former SA champ, coming back from suspension. He'll be fighting Sikomo Shad. And then lastly, you have Sotwai. He'll be fighting against Mbumbulwana. That is our bill.
Right, and obviously just to add to that, I want to quickly take a few of those fights, obviously the feature fights. And I want to start, because obviously I want to finish with Azinga Fuzile, because he's not done yet. And obviously a lot of negativity has been on social media. But let's first start off with Ronald Malindi against Luzuko Siyo. It's not an easy fight for Ronald Malindi. I know he's your guy and he's fighting for your promotion, but Siyo is also a guy from the Eastern Cape, very well supported. He's faced adversity in his career. Ronald Malindi is undefeated. How do you see that fight?
Most Hayden, I'm not really going to be objective because it's obvious that I have a side. So, you know what? I think for the past 3 fights, Ronald came here in East London. He was not fighting in our promotion. He was fighting in Lasbon promotion. And then it's obvious he came as underdog. And then secondly, he came to fight Darius. And then lastly, he came to fight Luandile Theatre. You know, when a boxer is not coming from Eastern Cape and is coming to fight one of the boxers from the province, and it's obvious that you expect that boxer to sort of coming on a back foot and so on without having supporters. But I can tell you that Malindi just keep on surprising Eastern Cape supporters. And I don't think he's going to come differently even this time around. I think he's just going to come and do what he does. Because you know, when you are a champion, you know that this is your belt. It's not going anywhere. So I think Malindi is going to come with a game. So in a way, I'm giving it to him.
All right, and I kind of expected that, to be honest. And Malindi's obviously done his best efforts to make himself popular. The dance moves, everything. He's done it all, and we wish him.
In fact, now he's even loved down here.
Oh, he's gained.
He is loved now. Yes.
So let's go to the next fight. Wow, this is going to be quite a step up for your boxer, into Anambi. Obviously, you have great belief in him. Otherwise, you wouldn't have thrown him into what a lot of people up in Gauteng are believing the deep end, in the form of Jackson Chauke, a very experienced former Olympian, a pedigreed boxer that we've seen. He is actually the WBC champion, but I know that obviously, in the expression on your face, it's showing that you believe in your boy to win this one. Give us an analysis on this fight.
You do know most that he's my boy. He's my baby. You do know that. Okay, fine. Uh, okay, fine. I think it's going to be a tough fight. And I think also there's a lot of sort of pressure around the bout itself. And in fact, I think it's the bout that everyone is. And you know what? I can tell you that the promoter didn't want the bout to say, no, isn't it too early? And so on and so on. But then I was like, you know what? I trust the boy, and it's high time that we throw him there, down deep, to see whether he's going to swim and come out, you know. And remember, sort of, Ndonambi has been tested before, and remember, even when he fought Voi, everyone was like, Ndonambi versus Voi, and he surprised many and knocked Voi out. And then again, you know what? He was superb. He was out of his game. He performed very well in his last fight against Mlonyen. And even the promoter himself, it's not as if he doesn't trust the boy, but because Ndwanambi last fought last year in October, he was saying, why can't we just have a sort of a week fight for him before he goes to Chauke? But then the boy is ready for Chauke. And come the 6th, the boy is going to surprise many. He's well, he's already in shape, and I think he's also sort of motivated. And you know, when firstly it was only going to be SA title, and then a week later, Chauke team came and we negotiated, and they engaged us to say, look, let's make it also to be an international fight. And then he was like, okay, let them come. And one thing I can tell you is that I think now it's time for the young ones. It's time for the young ones to take over. And come the 6th, Ndwanambi will be taking over, and he will be ruling that flyweight division.
Geez, I can't remember last time one of your youngsters actually lost a fight. So, I mean, if we look at that records, I mean, certainly the step up has been good so far. You know, hopefully for your sake that continues. And I want to talk about the main events of the evening, or what I'm assuming is the main events of the evening. It was Azinga Fuzile against Lunga Simela, and not an easy fight for Azinga to come back against, because he's coming up against an undefeated fighter from Cape Town, a guy, and ironically, they were both former prospects of the year. So they both have pedigree. What was your thought process in putting this fight together?
You know what I said to my team? When, you know what, sort of followed the boxing pages, and you know, everyone was like, why Rumble Africa is matching up Azinga as against Lunga, and so on and so on. And then I said to the guys, but guys, if we can go and check Azinga's history, almost the boxers that sort of gave Azinga tough time were the boxers that are coming here in South Africa. Remember, Azinga went to 12 round with Maputi Sinyabi. He went to 12 round with Mayemu. Also with, who's this guy? But if you check it, Azinga didn't even knock out one of the SA boxers. So I was saying, maybe we must not undermine Lunga, because Lunga will definitely come and surprise us. If you check the history of the boxers from within the country that have fought Azinga, they all didn't give Azinga an easy fight, an easy win, an easy victory. So in a way, and if you check Lunga's record, he's still to lose a fight. and I'm sure come the 6th of December, it will be his first loss. So in a way, it's going to be a tough fight. Um, I'm just hoping that they bring their A game uh, because Azinga, after his last fight, also himself, he just wants to show everyone that he's still the golden boy.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, he's still what he claimed. The first interview I did with Zinga Fuzile when he came up to Johannesburg was he is still the son of the Eastern Cape, and I'm pretty sure people in the Eastern Cape can echo those thoughts. The golden boy Zinga Fuzile, that is. I want to change the topic over now. We have addressed the tournaments, what's coming up, but there's a couple of extra social media questions. One, actually, I will throw you real quickly, but it's an easy question for you because you've been very vocal about it on social media. You challenged Heki Butler, Stephen Onshinga. You wanted that fight. You said that's the fight you want next for Steve. Is that still in your thought process, or have you moved on to something else now?
And I can tell you that for the 6th of December, we did offer Heki a fight.
And it was rejected.
Yes. And look who's there. There is Pretty Boy.
There he is.
There is Pretty Boy. There is Pretty Boy. There is Pretty Boy. Yes, we did send a sort of a challenge to Colin. Is sort of involved in other fights and so on and so on. But that is the fight that we want.
And what about a potential future fight with DJ Krill? I'm sure you're thinking your prospect can match pretty much anyone at this stage in South Africa. That name as well in your radar?
In fact, one thing I can tell you, there is no boxer that Sive is afraid to go against. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Whether it's Heki, whether it's Krill, whoever, there is no boxer that Sive is afraid to go against.
All right. I'll skip the next topic because you have actually made that point very clear about Stephen Onshinga not being scared of anybody. But I want to change over to Asanda now. He's undefeated and he's kind of in a little bit of a debacle at the moment. And you've been commenting on social media, but I want to get to the bottom of this because Jeff Magagane, another boxer here in Gauteng, has stated that he's waiting for the winner of Abdulaziz Kunert and Timbani Mangata, but you said that's not the case.
No, that's not the case. Remember, it's a pity that it's a sort of a long story, but let me just say it like this. We have a letter from Boxing South Africa that is saying the winner between Kunert and Bangata will face Guinea. And when the two boxers fight, it's going to be an interim featherweight title. Remember, there was a Super 4 of featherweight, and Kunert was not part of the Super 4. And we contested that as Rumble Africa promotion to say, we have Guinea, who qualifies to fight. Where is this Abdul coming from? And then we had to settle with Rumble Africa and of course with Sava. So that is why I was saying for Magagane, you still have to wait because the winner between Bangata and Abdul will face Guinea, not the other way around.
All right. Okay. Well, that's it. That's pretty simple. Then that sorts it out. So he becomes therefore the mandatory to fight the winner of that fight. That's as simple as it gets, and it's in his documents. Yes. Sure as well.
Yes.
Next topic, and last topic that is as well, is addressing next year without restrictions. If everything is back to normal again, what sort of a year can we expect from Rumble Africa Promotions?
For instance, I hope that next year, like everything will go well. Remember, we have boxers that have been fought this year For instance, we have JJ,
Mhm.
Ayabonga Sonjika. Next year, we want Ayabonga to take the international route. Because if you check the SA ratings of junior featherweight, it's only 5, if not 6 boxers that are rated in that division. And Ayabonga almost fought all of them. And even now, the reason why Ayabonga is not fighting is because the only boxer that qualifies to defend SA title is Mbangata, who Ayabonga knocked out. So we thought, in fact, it really doesn't make sense. We rather take the international route. So you see, that's the first thing. And then secondly, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got about 5 boxers who are rated in the top 5 of the international bodies. You have Azing, who is still up for elimination. You have Azinga. You then have Yanga. You then have Yanga, who's also rated in the top 5. You then have Ludum Lamati, who's also our boxer. You then have Lerato Dlamini.
Mhm.
You then have Sivenati Nonjinga. So all these boxers that I have just mentioned, if all goes well next year, all of them we can end a year having fought for elimination and also for world titles. Because it's a question of 1 fight, 2 fights, 2 world titles for all of them.
I also want to add one thing, right? So you mentioned Ludumo Lamati, and I think you know where I'm going with this one. JJ is going the international route. Would you ever match 2 of your own fighters against each other?
No. You know what? Not that it's not that we sort of undermine some of our boxers, but when it comes to JJ and Ludum, they are both unique, they are both special, and they don't have to go the same route. Ludumo is currently rated, highly rated IBF. JJ can always WBO route. So for now, that fight is not even on the cards, not in the near future.
Okay, I want to throw in one more question just because I have you here, and it's such a special guest to have you here today. Yanga Sakibo leaves another promoter for you. Would you ever do the fight with Dumazweni? I mean, that screams a lot of controversy if that fight ever happened. Would you ever do that?
It depends. What is it that he will gain when he fights Dumezweni? Because now as it stands, we are not even dreaming of that fight because Yanga is way above Dumezweni. So if Dumezweni, for instance, even now, if Dumezweni, let's say, was rated above Yanga, that fight was a fight that we're going to even stage even this December. But for now, Yanga is way above all the boxers in his division. So not anytime soon. He must first prove himself. He must first have a credible title, and then maybe we could consider that. But now there's no SA boxer that we are even dreaming of matching that boxer up against Yanga.
So many exciting boxes to talk about. It's actually ridiculous to think about that you guys have on your books. In conclusion, thank you very much for joining us today. I really do appreciate your time, and obviously, I'm sure a lot of people would like to listen to what you've got to say. We'll be hearing really shortly as we upload the video. But again, thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Once again, thanks, Bruce, for having me. And then lastly, to everyone who supports Rumble, we are having a tournament on the 6th of December, and the tournament will be streamed live via Mbuyekezo boxing channel. So the details will be up soon, the latest tomorrow, so that everyone can go buy their tickets, so that come the 6th of December, you can all watch the tournament sitting in the comfort of your home. So thanks for supporting us, and we promise not to fail you.